Allie Zendrian, founder of AtoZ Communications, and this is the Brand Stories podcast. This is where we discuss all things related to branding. This next guest is particularly pertinent to the word branding in basically its most literal sense. Marqus Aycart does great branding work for several different kinds of companies. Marcus's vision for brands comes from everything to the business plan, the typography, the look and feel of the brand, and the way that the employees, the brand ambassadors, sell themselves. Marqus, thank you so much for coming on the Brand Stories podcast. So this is where we discuss everything related to branding, and I figured what better expert than you, literally, to have on this podcast.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. As soon as I saw brand, I said, oh, you had me at brand. Right? I didn't even read the stories part. Brand.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe then, so we'll just make this the brand podcast and leave the stories to the side. It's fine.
Thank you, because I'm a big advocate of podcasts. I'm actually in the process of going to a new studio. So I love that this is video, because I tell everybody, why are you still doing audio, right? People want the voice is just hearing a voice podcast. It's cool because we're talking about stories. It lends to the mystery. But let's face it, we're in a world where clients, they want it fast, right? They want to kind of get rid of the guesswork because they do enough of that every day. So Why not see who's speaking, right? Why not engage with the person that you're speaking with and connect with them immediately? If they don't like my ugly face, then I don't want to listen to this guy. Fine, bye. But if you're intrigued with what we have to say here, now who's delivering it and who the person is behind the messaging.
Exactly. Well, you're getting that trust factor that much faster because you're like, Marqus, he seems like a likable guy. Totally normal. So first question, what is your favorite brand and why?
This is such a good question. I did my due diligence. I can't be a brand developer without doing my research. I listened to the other episodes, the most recent one, Lauren Hong. I listened to that and I said, oh, wow, she's starting right off the gates with a hot question. So the answer I have is a shame on me. This is subjectively speaking. I'm ashamed that I admit to this, but I can't help. I have to recognize their hard work, and that's McDonald's. I use it for a lot of examples. It's usually McDonald's and Starbucks, but let's go with McDonald's. I love the McDonald's business model and brand. On the brand side, because I don't eat the food. Once in the blue, I'll cheat when I'm on the road with some chicken nuggets.
Yep.
But the secret is you have to ask for it either. There's two phrases you can use, either extra crispy or fresh out the fryer. Because then I'm telling you, when you're ever getting nuggets, go that route and it tastes like so good. Anyway, I digress. So McDonald's on the brand side, because they practice everything that I preach, which is consistency and cohesiveness. Their system and their unison within that system, it applies to wherever a McDonald's exists. So whether it's Dubai, Japan, let's keep it specific, Tokyo, Tennessee to New York City, all the way to Egypt. The language may change, right? Because obviously it can't be English everywhere.
No.
But the same system and format follows everywhere. In other words, their brand system and identity is consistent and cohesive. And I love that. So wherever you are in the country, you see those two golden arches, the red and yellow, you know what you're in for. I think with the exception of some Asian countries, they will have some things on the menu that we'll never have here, like more fish-based dishes and stuff like that. Or I think in some countries, they're not allowed to eat beef, so they'll substitute.
Sure.
But regardless of that, the identity system is consistent. Now, on the business side, what I love about McDonald's is that they're not really a burger business. They are a real estate business. Every place that they set up at, they either own the land or they're going to own the land. So they've stockpiled quite the portfolio when it comes to, real estate. And that's amazing because, if that's the ultimate goal, I think with every business, or it should be, that buy real estate, whether it's commercial or residential, so that becomes sustainable and reciprocal income. And that's the ultimate goal in terms of investments. Now, it's hard today given the market, but that should still be something that you're considering as part of your portfolio in terms of diversifying your business.
I love that. Financial advice as well, dude. Look at you. And by the way, I didn't know that about the McNuggets. My daughter, who's 6, loves their McNuggets. So apparently, I'll have to see if that really makes a difference or not. I will let you know.
It does. Yeah, my son too. He loves their nuggets. Well, he loves nuggets anywhere. Now his new thing is the Cane's chicken fingers that's popping
Oh,
up everywhere. And they're a
mhm.
Louisiana business. So it's cool to see them. I used to live in Houston and Louisiana was like a next door neighbor. So it's cool to see that business make it all the way to like New York City. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Very nice. When it comes to branding, so you're talking about all this cohesiveness and having a strategy and being very thoughtful about it. Do you feel like with some businesses, does it make more sense for them to sort of have all of that strategy and brand work done before they launch? Or should they just like sort of get out there and then figure out, is there a best practice as far as that's concerned?
My answer is going to be biased because I'm the brand developer. I've been doing this for 23 plus years and I come from the agency world. The agency world will always say start first with the design, the message, the strategy, story. Right? This is called brand stories and store. As much as I joked around saying you had me at brands, the story is a big part of branding. So I guess let's give the audience a little bit of a background.
Yes.
We met each other through, we're part of a professional leads and referrals networking group called LETIP, LETIP. They've been around since 1978. So it's 47 years that they've been honing and crafting their skill of connection, right? They're even part of Cherry Tree's bank system, BANK. Basically, it's personalizing your business connection. So if you're the letter A, you're action oriented. If you're letter B, you're blueprint. If you're letter N,
Nurture.
you're a nurturer. K is knowledge. Shameless plug, right? Cherry Tree, where's my check? That's Latip, and it's been amazing for us. So we just had a convention, and you were part of my panel, which is building a solid brand foundation. And the whole goal of that panel was that I develop these strategies, I develop these approaches, or I develop you from the startup, or I'm helping you pivot. But there are key components and professionals that I work with in efforts to make that brand succeed. In your case, PR strategist, you have all these great assets, all these great messages. Social media is great. Videography to tell your story on a personal level is great. We had a guy there about with AI. AI is huge in helping your workload, but at the same time, and it's a great tool, obviously, software, but how do you get your message out there? If you're not doing PR strategy or working with a public relations professional like yourself, how are you getting that message out there and how are you furthering that connection?
Yep.
We were part of that same panel. So that's our story. Now, to answer your question in regards to where do you start, the chicken or the egg,
Yes.
right? It's the egg. Why? And it's not biased like, oh, yeah, hire me now. I'll tell you why. I've been doing this for 23 years and I've seen so many clients start with, well, I just need to start.
Mm.
Sure, if you have that mindset where you're lollygagging and you keep suffering through analysis paralysis,
Yep.
I get it. You have to start. However, you should have never been there to begin with because if you would have planned everything accordingly, and I do live by the premise of if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Yeah.
But plans serve a purpose, right? They're a roadmap. They at least help you start in the right way. Are things going to change and go according to plan every time? No, not usually.
Yeah.
But you should have a strategic approach and a good system in place. So when you're out there trying to connect with your target audience and demographic, and people don't understand what the brand is, or there's a break in the chain, then you lost them, right? And now in today's world, 2025, people are fickle.
Mm-hmm.
Why wait until you get, pardon my French, your SHIT together when they can go somewhere else? Like if you're, let's say you're doing a wash and fold business and you promise to be the wash and fold business that's going to change everything. Okay, cool. Show me that. Why? How?
Yeah.
Who, what, where, why, when? But if you don't have your act together and you're starting out willy nilly, then I'm going to go to the next person that's promising me that as well. And I'm just picking a random industry, but yeah, get your ducks in a row so that you're not having to spend 3 times as much when you could have just one shot, one kill, have done it right the first time and build that proper foundation so you could keep building up. Why build one semi foundation that's going to have cracks later on to move on later on to another foundation that also has cracks? Build one solid foundation and then you can build up and nestle yourself in that penthouse in the sky.
Well, at that point, then the sky is the limit. So yeah, absolutely. And Marcus, you are probably the only person who has had the distinct honor of me running up to you at stage because we had mentioned that I am a very slow half marathoner. And so I thought that it would be funny to very slowly run up the stage. But getting to the branding nuts and bolts. So, what in that plan does somebody need to have? Like, what are those core elements that if you're not doing this, this, and this, you miss the boat, basically?
Well, I wouldn't say you missed the boat, but you have to wait for the boat to come back and dock again, right?
Yeah, fair.
There's always an opportunity to hop back on. So the number one thing that's more ethereal than anything, it's passion. You have to have passion. I'm very picky and selective in the clients that I work with. If you're not passionate about your business, then how can I be passionate about your business? What you're doing is you're investing in me because I'm trying to integrate myself into your business. I want to be just as passionate in your business as well. Hey, if your business is pumpkin pies, hey, let me get a slice because I want to get in the know of everything that has to do with those pumpkin pies. Like, I want to be your passionate business partner that helps see the things that you don't see and helps you do the things that you didn't think of. So that's my job. So that's number one. If you're not passionate about your business, then that sort of effect trickles down. Your staff won't be passionate. Your team, the rest of your team, your vendors or the market that you're selling, and people can read that. People can read that this person's not being genuine. And being genuine and sincere in today's marketplace is super important, especially with millennials, Gen Z, etc. Like all of these different generations that have experienced life in different ways. They're also experiencing products and services in different ways. Outside of that, what I expect from you is if I assign you homework, do the homework. I'll give you a great example. Worked with a really cool, and I won't say their name because I'm not trying to shout anyone out, but they're a really cool fashion company out of Montreal. I've helped them in the past several times. This time I said, hey, I'm going to do a horrible French accent here. And they're like, Marquis, let me tell you, I no longer partners with this person, and that's it. I am ready to take on the world by myself, you know? I'm like, hey, awesome, awesome. And so, okay, we'll build your brand. We'll get all these things together. And he was passionate about saying, I want to tell my story through social media. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's do it. This is what we need. Bing, bang, boom. The bing, bang, boom turned into boom, boom, boom. Nothing ever was done. So then it's like, well, I can't help you if you're not going to help yourself, right? Like we assigned you some homework. We told you the deadlines. We told you what's needed. And if you're not going to do your part, then we're going to be in limbo until we're not, right? I never cut off a client, but I do give them certain timelines. Like, look, if you're inactive for 3 months and you want to come back into the fold in terms of priority service, then you're going to have to pay a priority, like sort of reinstatement fee. Because it's time, right? We're all paying for each other's time. And if you're not going to respect my time, then you're going to have to wait till we can be ready for you once again. But we make that very clear from day one. Like, look, this is what we expect of you. So do your homework. And then outside of that, the rest is kind of up to us. Like, there will be some things that we do, or no, a lot of things that we do that maybe you weren't ready for. So that's part of our in-depth onboarding and intake phase. We're going to sit you down in our office. We're going to tell you everything that we need. We're going to tell you what we're going to do and what's expected of you. We're going to give you the milestones, and then we'll go accordingly. But it's not one of those like sit in our chair and it's like, oh crap, now what? Like, no, we'll educate you, we'll prepare you. And that's the thing. We're taking our time to prepare you and educate you. I'm very education forward. And if after all of that precious time, you're not doing your part, then let the chips fall where they will, right?
Sure. Absolutely. So steps to good branding. Do you feel like it's something where you work on the website first or you do your social media first? Or is there any sort of exact flow to business, or does it depend on what the kind of business is?
So the good news is that we can do a lot simultaneously. However, the very first most important step is make sure your business is a business. Make sure it's an LLC, a S corp, a not-for-profit, whatever the business structure is. Make sure it's a legitimate business, because there has been cases where I have a client coming in saying, this is my business, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm selling, this is what I'm providing, whatever the case may be. And then they find out later on, oh my God, I'm getting sued because blah, 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 blah. Someone already has a trademark, or blah, blah, blah. Someone already has LLC and the trademark. How can you not have done that due diligence? So now we've learned from them. We ask clients, are you legitimate? Like, are you set up? And if you're not, we can help you. Like, we have great IP attorneys. We have great attorneys, business attorneys in general, a CPA that we work with. So we'll help you get all those ducks in a row if you need that kind of help. Outside of that, make sure you're legitimate. And then what we do is, before we do touch anything, it's all research and development driven. So the big hill to climb is invite us in. What's your story? Why this business? And then we look at that story and then analyze it and determine, okay, this is a great story, but this is just your story. What sort of want and need is this providing for your clients, your target audience? Because if it's a me business, then how are you going to get the we, right?
I like that.
So there's that side. And then after we do all of that, we do concentrate on the identity first. So that consists of the logo, the typography, the colors, because in a visual sense, that's what starts the identity process. And through that, we also help develop your slogan, your mission statement, your modus operandi, internally and externally. So there's a message that you give your employees and your team, and then there's a message you want for others on the outside to accept on a cultural and social level. So we start with that groundwork first. After that, then we build the tools that help you create conversions, or at least awareness. And that's your website, your social media, and even a launch event. We'll help you do a launch event.
That's great. So how do you feel like marketing and PR work together? Is there a time when you tell a client, like, look, you've hit that place, obviously your story, is great, it's really resonating, let's add some PR?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because my number one ask, especially my chapter, I'm always looking for the number one question or ask I have is, I need a PR person, because because PR people are the ones that kind of take all these pages you've built for this book and the beautiful cover that we did and then puts it in front of people. PR people are great at getting the action-oriented perspective of connecting to another level. Social media is great on a digital level, but PR is great because it gets you into the right publications to get you in front of the right audience. Here I am giving the spiel about your messaging, but if that message is not reaching the next keywords that I've been throwing out, the target audience, then it's kind of like, where do we go from here? Like, I got this beautiful Ferrari, but I have no road to drive it on.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, PR helps with that process. I admire and I respect the world of PR tremendously because I know what it's done for my clients in the past and in the present.
Thank you. Greatly appreciated. I feel like one of the controversial topics that people talk about is with SEO and AI. Is AI kind of killing SEO? Do they feed together? Do you have any thoughts on that or where that's heading?
Well, someone approached me after that. I think your approach to AI is very naive. And I said, it is. You're right. I'm not going to deny that. But I said, I kind of have to do that. Like, I have to be the heel I don't know if people watch wrestling. I don't, but I know that terminology. Heel's the bad guy.
Got it.
I have to be the heel in the world of AI because I have to still stand true and 10 toes firmly on the ground on what it is that I do. When people are telling me, like, oh, soon AI will replace you, and not me, because nothing will ever beat that connection that I make for my clients. Nothing will ever beat that because AI can't ever show passion. AI can never show connection. AI can never show real world experience. I go to a networking event, and let's just say, I'll give you one example of a scenario. A client puts down their phone. Sorry, I was playing this song that I just got forwarded by a friend. And let's just say I recognize the song. I say, oh, is that Miles Davis? Oh my God, how did you know? You listen to jazz? I'm like, yeah, I love jazz. I have a record player in my house. Boom, instant connection. AI can't do that. So with that said, people have to understand that AI is a tool. Can it replace certain people and industries? I wouldn't say replace, but can it make life easier in certain circumstances? Yes. Like, I'll give you an example. I had a copywriter that all we did is fight because she was always presenting to me what her intent in her writing was. I said, that's fantastic. You get that, but the client won't get that. So we would spend 3 hours on what should be just clearly written content. And it turns into more of like, we're like waxing poetic on what now? And meanwhile, AI has replaced her, unfortunately, because until we find another personal connection, but for now, it has replaced this one specific person because it already understands our tone.
Yep.
It understands our intent and understands what our goals are because we've been feeding it the right prompts. And because of that, it has helped us during this transition phase until we find another copywriter that can gel with us and work with us in line with one another. So like I said, AI is a tool. Now, will I say that's going to be my copywriting solution forever? No, it can't be, because I'm a firm believer in, personal connection, and also having people, we want to build a team that, has our same vision. So that's just an instance where we just didn't align, and AI right now is helping. So as long as you use AI as a tool to help you execute certain things that can essentially save you time, that's, for me, my personal perspective, what AI is. It's a great tool to help me save on time. And what is time? Time is money.
Heck yeah. That absolutely. So, what advice would you give to somebody if, as they're listening to us, for instance, they're saying, I feel like my brand doesn't entirely meet who I am today or where my business is and whatnot? How would you help them get it in alignment or zhuzh it up a little bit?
So I go through that all the time. During convention, before I walked off the stage after our presentation, one person said, I'm in the bank processing industry. So, wow, it's a lot of competition. He said, yes. And I have an important question for you. I'm like, sure, let me have it. He goes, I don't know what my brand is. I'm like, wow, then we need to talk, right? Like, but what do you mean by that? He was an older gentleman, and old guard has a hard time understanding the new landscape of business and how people connect with today's business. So that's the real issue. It seems like it's a connection issue, probably a systems and operations thing, and most of all, a cultural thing. Like I'm assuming this gentleman was like at least 65. How will a 65-year-old handle a young rock star real estate business that's full of like late 20s and early 40s firm? That's going to be a hard sell, because they just don't understand the cadence of that type of client, or some of their references, or the ability to just connect on a personal level. So that's a gentleman that I'm in talks with. So we'll see if we can help him or not, because honestly, if it's a lot of work that he won't understand, then it's going to turn into an uphill battle, and we can't kind of teach him what's going on today. We can, but we have to make sure he's receptive of it. We have a client like that already. He's been doing everything on catalogs for years. We finally got him on e-commerce. And he's like, I'm not ranking. I said, well, that has to do with SEO. He said, well, what's SEO? I'm like, oh boy. So we have to be careful of the hills we choose to climb up on. On the other side, I have another potential client as a result of that event, who said, we do very well with business. We're Las Vegas's number one hidden secret. I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? So, well, our business does well. I have a great rock star team. However, on social media, we suck. On our website, we've been getting a lot of conversions, but we don't know why. I think it's because we recently did something with they collaborated with someone else in the area. It was a festival. And I guess they got a lot of shout outs, and is getting a lot of that, but then he doesn't know how to retain them or how to repeat that process without having to rely on someone else. So we're in the phase of reviewing everything. So your question is, how does someone prepare for like working with someone like me? Well, I don't know if you ever watched that Marcus Lemonis show, The Prophet, where he would take over someone's business. I don't know if it's still around, but it was on CNBC. I'm sure you could catch it on YouTube. Great show. It's kind of like Bar Rescue, but for business.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So he would say, hand me over the keys, because I'm taking over. And that's what we do. We take over everything. So I said, give me access to your website. Give me all your style guide, your brand style guide. Give me every asset that you've developed in the last 10 years, because we want to do a complete audit on everything that your business has been doing. But most of the time, the story becomes clear when we visit either your social media or your website. And oftentimes it's the website. We'll see it's like, oh, well, on this page, your colors are gold and blue, but on the next one, it's purple and green. What's going on with that? On this page, the typography is some sort of like serif type, like Times New Roman, but on the next one, it's futuristic. Like there's a lot of competition within yourself going on here. What's going on? We'll do a complete brand audit like that, and then break down why their messaging is being broken. And here's the thing, I referenced that earlier. If there's one small break in a chain, the chain won't operate. That bicycle won't work. You'll end up stuck somewhere. God forbid, you don't want to do that. What's the job of the bicycle? To get you places.
Exactly. So for that gentleman, or for anybody else who can't figure out what their brand is, how would you take them through an exercise or explain to them, this is what you ought to do to figure out who you are?
So normally we'll compare them. We'll find out who their direct or indirect competitors are. A direct, obviously, within that industry. Indirect, meaning that they have a similar message, but they may not essentially be selling the same bank processing system or something like that, or card processing system, but they're in line with the kind of like vision that they have. So we'll do a comparison analysis, and then we'll show them like, look, this is where you should be. This is where we can take you, and it's up to you. This is the investment that it would take, but understand this is an investment towards building something solid. And from there, we can build up and figure out what the next levels are. But I always help clients understand today, this is where we start, because oftentimes, oh, but I already have this, or I already done this. My favorite counter response from a client is when I challenge them, they say, but this is what I've been doing for the past 13 years. I'm like, cool. How's that working out for you? Like, why are you here then? Right? Why are you here in my office? You clearly need help. So let me help you. Stop being your own worst enemy. Step aside. Let me help you. Let me come in from an outside perspective, because my goal is objective. My job is to help you and to help you get results. So stop getting in your own way, start trusting, start accepting, and let us help you and show you where the pain points are and how we can fix that. I had one client, we broke down everything that was wrong with her business, and we show her clearly through this sort of systems and operations review, you're losing this much money per month, and this is why you're struggling. She finally needed someone to kind of tell her what she already knew.
Yeah, the truth.
And I said, now we know what's wrong, and now we can fix it.
Exactly. I'm glad that you were able to help her. And hopefully you're going to be helping so many other people with this recording. So thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I'm clients or potential clients. Their number one blockade is fear.
Yeah.
It's the fear of the unknown. They don't want to pull that trigger to at least start communicating with a professional that they can delegate to, because they fear that they might be embarrassed, or that, oh my God, I'm not ready yet, or I don't know what this is, and let me educate myself first. But by the time they get around to educating themselves, by the time they get around to getting all their ducks in a row, that's what eats up the time. Analysis paralysis. So it's like the first step is to start. Speaking to professionals, by all means, meet various professionals. Get, like we do with doctors, get a second opinion, get a third opinion. And then from there, you'll make your best decision based on what feels best for you and what's also best for your budget.
Do you want to
Yeah,
tell
just
people
let me
where
get
to find
a
you?
shout out. Yeah. So you can find the website, and the social media is the same. Just add the .com. So you can find me personally, my creative personal page that kind of gives you an insight to who I am and what I like and what I do for fun and all that. So you can kind of connect with the person behind the brand. That's Made by Aycart, MadeAycart. It's Made by Aycart on Instagram. And it's the same thing for the website, madebyaycart.com. I do take on projects personally. Sometimes it depends on the budget. And then Forager Brands, that's FORAGER BRANDS. That's on Instagram. It's fairly new. You'll see a portfolio of some of our most recent work. I have 23 years of experience. Forager Brands has been around for maybe 3 years or two and a half. But it comes with that 23 years of agency experience. The website's the same, foragerbrands.com.
Nice.
Go on there. I have links to set up a 35-minute Calendly. We could do a Zoom. 35 minutes, I guarantee you, I will change something, either the way you think, or the way your business operates, or the way you grow from here. So I guarantee change. 35 minutes is all it takes.
Love it. Well, with that guarantee, everybody should be taking advantage of it.
Awesome. Well, Ali, thank you so much for your time.
Of course. Thank you.